Hi everyone, welcome once again to Saga Prison Stories. If you have not subscribed, please do like, comment, share, and share with us your thoughts or any questions that you'd like to ask concerning life in prison. Last time we stopped our video with Anne, and she was going to talk about, she was going to do part 2 of the story in Ethiopia. And we are sorry for the delay. We had some technical hitch, but here we are today with part 2 of her story. Welcome once again.
Thank you. Once again, my name's Anne Waho, and I'm here to talk about part 2, my life in prison, Kaliti prison, Ethiopia. So, I was brought now to Kaliti, now to serve my sentence. When I walked in, I was welcomed by 3 Kenyans who were already there. And then I was given a bed, and we started my life. Somewhere in the mix, there was a problem going on, so I was able to be elected as the leader of the foreigners. We were 41 foreigners, so from various countries, South Africa, Nigeria, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Uganda, Brazil, Sweden. There were many, but we were 41. So what used to happen when I walked in, we used to actually cook for ourselves.
Wow.
Yes. Until Red Cross, who used to come and visit us, stopped it because they thought people could burn each other with the fires. We used to have jikos as fires and everything, but they stopped it. So after that, now they told us we have to be going to the kitchen to be cooking. So I came up with a timetable. 2 foreigners would go to the kitchen to cook because they were the big pots actually, like boarding schools. So one person would not manage. Basically, they used to give us tea and bread in the morning and rice for lunch. So we used to go around and try new tricks on how to cook it. At times, Nigerians would cook for us jollof rice. South Africans would go and fry it. You know, we used to try and do tricks with the rice, yeah? There was a shop there, groceries, so you could buy like tomatoes, onions, and pili pepper. We make kachumbari, we eat with the rice. What I can say, the structure might not have been good. I know it was mabati, you know, iron sheets compared to Kenya prison, but the treatment was, from what I hear about Kenya prison, it was better there.
No beating?
There was no beating at all. At all, at all, at all.
Punishment?
Punishment was there, but kind of mild. It's like they have a soft spot on women, the Ethiopians. The beds were neat. Every bed had a mosquito. There were double-decker beds. So a slim lady would sleep on the top. The big women, mothers, would
Plus
always,
size.
yes, plus size would always get the down bed. There were TVs in the room, like 2, 3 TVs, 3, 4 toilets and bathrooms. And the bathrooms had even a shower. They were clean because we used to maintain them. We used to wash them ourselves. What else do I need to talk about this?
They have duty roster for cleaning?
No, just at times anybody will just wash. You know, you just pick somebody or somebody just feels they want to wash, they'll just go and wash, yeah?
Okay, were there any duties?
There were basically no duties. At all, yes. What we do, you wake up in the morning, take your tea, your bread, have your breakfast. If you have clothes, you go and wash your clothes. Then after that, sit down. There were benches all over the compound, so we just sit as a group, maybe chat, do your crochet. Some would even make hair, by the way. So that was the way we used to kind of make money for ourselves. Because there were people, their families never used to send them anything. I remember there was one Kenya for 4 years. Her family never sent her anything. So what she used to do, she used to make crochet and we sell it to the Ethiopians.
Where would she get the wool from?
They would bring the wool for us. Yes, even the crochets and everything, they would bring for us in the shop. So we were able at least to keep ourselves busy and to also make some money. So that is the way most of us survived.
Okay, how about the visits? Visitors from outside?
Visitors from outside, if you had somebody in Ethiopia, they could come and visit you. But basically from Kenya, it was not allowed. Actually, for what we could see, it's like our embassy was not active. Other embassies, they would find a way to organize for families to come and visit the people in prison. But Kenya embassy was one embassy which was not active at all. It was not there for us, that's all I can say.
Okay.
Yes.
Other embassies, meaning maybe Brazil,
Yes, Brazil,
foreign countries.
Mozambique, Malawi, yes,
Would they bring
Sweden.
for their prisoners anything, or they just visit?
They were allowed to bring anything. Anything, any food, clothes, anything they could think of, they'll bring along.
So how did that make you feel as Kenyans?
Oh, I think everybody, actually, most people used to laugh at us. Kenyan embassy, everybody used to talk about the worst embassy. Even the prison wardens used to say, Kenyan embassy is the worst embassy. And they used to wonder why. You know, they used to say we are neighbors. Kenya embassy should be very active. But actually, it turned out to be the worst. They'll come maybe after 6 months, once, maybe after once in a year. But other embassies, they had like a thing, they would come like every other month. Every other month, they'll come and bring stuff for their people. Kenya embassy, one thing I can say, they failed us.
So from what you have heard about Kenyan prison, would you say that the inmates in Ethiopia are treated much better?
Yeah, I could say slightly better, although I came to realize that when I was outside. When I was there, I used to think we were being mistreated by them. But when I came out and heard the stories of Kenyan prison, that's when I realized Kenyan prison is not that good. Yes. Compared to Ethiopia, Ethiopia is a better level.
Any lies in the prison?
No, basically they used to come and fumigate the place. Okay,
Really?
bed bugs would get very few, and then once you alert them, they would call somebody to fumigate. And then we had this thing like cleaning for every room once in a month. We clean, thorough cleaning. So you issue bed bugs once. You just hear one room it has, and then they call somebody to fumigate, and then the issue is over.
A lot of people ask about relationships in the prison. When I was in Langata, we used to call it Langata Girls, Langata Women's Prison. I did not witness cases of lesbianism or women and women being in relationships, but we used to hear this happens a lot in the men's prison. Did this happen in Ethiopia?
Yes, quite a lot. The lesbianism was quite high actually.
Really?
Especially with the Nigerians and Africans, it was quite high. Those were cases here actually, yes. And even Ethiopians, a small section of Ethiopians. Yes, about the relationships. There was also a men's prison somewhere a bit further. So what used to happen, as we were going to a clinic which was outside and opposite the men's prison, women, someone used to get to talk to the men and pass letters to each other.
Just like Langata girls and
So
Langata
somehow
and committee boys.
there were affairs going on, but these are affairs where you can't even touch, you can't do much, just talking.
I know.
And if somebody has money, maybe the man could send the woman some money, something of the sort. Yes, there are relationships going on. Yes.
This used to happen also. Langata girls, committee boys, letters throughout. As much as letter writing was not allowed those days, but this used to happen. How? Only the inmates know. But just as you say, it used to keep people going. It's a lot of fun. It's just like boarding school, getting letters from boys, girls, you know, something different from the usual routine. I'm surprised to hear that there was this happening in the prison. How did the authorities deal with that?
They tried, but they got tired. They just let it. They used to say, so long as they're not touching each other, let them be happy.
Really?
Yes, because they tried to stop it, they couldn't, they just let them be happy. If you're caught in the act, of course, they'll just talk to you, punish you, but they kind of were ignoring it. Because, you know, you could see when you're queuing to go to hospital, the men are there, the women are there. So you just throw a note over across to the man. But the police would just, like, be tired. So it was like, kind of.
Was this amongst the prisoners who had been in prison for too long, or even short term?
Even short term.
What about fighting? How did they
Fighting, there was a lot of fighting gangs actually, especially when it comes to Nigerian women. Wow.
Yes, I know they
We
can
used
be.
to have gangs, you
they
know,
can be wild.
gangs, yes, fighting and everything.
So maybe me and you and somebody else were in this group,
exactly.
then another
you leave,
group.
you go to the other group, so gang fighting.
Then you tease
between,
each other, then you
exactly,
plan a fight.
exactly, yes.
And then how are the authorities dealing with this fight?
Basically, they used to come separate, maybe change rooms if you're in the same room, and mostly they used to put us handcuffs.
Oh,
That's
they
it.
handcuff women?
Yes, they handcuff women. But after a while, they were kind of sympathetic with women. Maybe they would handcuff you for 1 day, 2 days, then they remove you.
In Langata, I remember if the punishment that they would make on maybe very difficult inmates was being put in a cell on your own. I think for some days without, with half the diet. Sometimes those bad ones would just pour water in the room and put you in a cold room, and that, that was it. But this issue of, do I remember any issue of lesbianism? Not that I can recall, but probably these, they would call them loiterers. They would come and be in for a week, for 2 weeks. These girls, they used to collect in the streets, Koinange streets. Probably would try to sleep on one mattress, and immediately the in charge of the cell discovered this, they would report to the wardresses, and they would be separated to different cells. But lesbianism per se, I don't remember. I don't remember hearing of that. Now, what about phone calls? Because when we went to Langata prison, you could not call your people, children would not visit. I wonder whether in Ethiopia the inmates their children were allowed to visit them, and if there were any phone calls, were they timed, were they allowed, how was it done?
For us, phone calls, it was like, for us foreigners, now I'm talking about foreigners, they used to call us Wichizeka, which means foreigners in America.
Wichizeka?
Yes.
That is,
Wichizeka.
you learned their language?
Exactly, you had to learn Americans.
Okay.
They like gossiping, the Ethiopians, so you had to learn somehow. So what used to happen, they used to have these old call boxes we used to have in Kenya.
Ah, those ones.
Yes, but then you use a card, not coins like Kenya. So what used to happen, like the madam in charge of prison, she used to tell me, if they want to make calls, Anna, make sure they have money. If they have money, I don't have a problem. I'll just go collect the money, bring, I'll buy you the cards, and you start calling. So it was the power of money.
So you would go out of the prison?
Yes.
They were not scared that you could just disappear?
No, there's police escort. Many times I used to go is when we have like Christmas or Easter celebrations. We'll tell her we want to have some chicken or some meat. So she'll tell me collect the money. Then with my assistant we'll go out and buy the food, come to the kitchen, cook, and celebrate our Christmas and our Easter. She used to allow us to go out, yes. But we used to have security. We never used to just go on our own. The same thing, but with the cards, she used to do it herself or send somebody. So they'll bring us card. Maybe a card is for 500 shillings. So for me, I had a system when I'm talking to my family, I'll tell my sister, stop, listen. So I'll just call her, I tell her, I hope you have a pen, just right now. She never used to talk.
Because of the time.
Yeah, because you did, it's gone. So most people, we knew that trick. So we just tell everybody, I told them, listen, be listening. When you receive a call from Kaliti, just listen. So they knew. So it's like our families, they knew. They used to allow us to call. But then, somewhere in between, one of the foreigners messed up. I think they started calling home to tell them we are suffering and all that.
Like reporting?
Yes, reporting. You know, we are being mistreated. We are not being fed well. So it's like they kind of stopped it. Somewhere along the way, I got to plead with her. She allowed us once again to be making calls.
Okay, as we wind up, Anne, now, you were released when you went home. How were you received? Was it good? How were things?
First and foremost, yes, I'm in Ethiopia. I was even worried. I don't have a plane ticket, but somehow my family sent me the money for the plane ticket, and I had a fine to pay, by the way, 1,000 beer, which is like how much? 5,000 shillings. So they sent me.
To pay for the crime?
Yes, there's a fine, yes. So I had to pay for it. Then we had a shop also for clothes, yeah. So I had to buy clothes so I can look good when I'm coming back. So the embassy was able to buy me the ticket and inform my family I'll be back. I'll be in Nairobi by around 9 o'clock. So I was in Nairobi at around 9 o'clock. My family was there waiting for me.
Oh, good.
My mom, my sister, my brothers. My dad was not there because he was not feeling well. They were there for me. They came to see me. So we met at the airport. It was a good homecoming.
After how many
After
years?
4 years of being away. And now, like I say, I thank God He brought me back. I thank my family, they supported me. And I can't just You know, I'm grateful. I'm grateful, by the way.
How was life after that?
Life after
Any
that.
stigma?
Yes, there's been a lot of stigma. It's like I try to reach out to my friends. It's like most of them don't want anything to do with me. Don't touch me. You know, that's the attitude I'm getting from people. So I've learned to keep to myself. One of my friends actually offered me a job. I worked with her, but business was not doing so well. Printing and branding, so we had to split ways. So I actually tried to start my own. It was speaking, but then come Corona, COVID, locked up, business just went down. So right now, again, it's a struggle. When I came back, I stayed in the house for a few months, actually for almost 1 year. Then there's this friend who I tried to reach out, but then she didn't reach back. She was like, she kept away. Then all of a sudden, she just called me. She has her own business, so she told me I can come and we just sit along, we work together. So I joined her. But then business started going down, so we had to part ways. That's printing and branding business. So I decided, let me start my own. Through friends, I collected some money and I was able to start my own. It was speaking, I was getting jobs, but then come Corona, COVID, lockdown and everything. Bang, everything just went down again. You know, apart from her, Rachel and another friend, most people have been trying to keep away. You know, that stigma attached to it all. You're a jailbird, jailbird. In fact, I've had 2 or 3 calling me a jailbird, but thank God I came back. I give God all the glory, my family. Thank you for being there for me. I love you all. And I believe it's a matter of a question of one day at a time.
One day at a time. And remember, always there is no testimony without a test. So those calling you jailbird, that is not your tag, that is not your name, that is what happened at one moment where one made a wrong step, a wrong decision, but we don't live in the past. We live in the present. What is important is not the beginning, but the end, and where you're going to, and how you will turn that pain into purpose. So let no one can define your destiny apart from God.
One last thing I want to, the lady who introduced me to this thing, I know she's out there. Maybe she wants this clip. Wherever you are, I just want to say I forgive you. You put me through hell, but maybe I believe God had a reason for it, yeah? There's a reason for everything, so I leave everything in God's hands. He'll be your judge, I'm not going to forgive you.
And let no one also judge you. God is the ultimate judge. Thank you for tuning in for part 2 of Anne's story. And remember, as I said, that always when you are depressed, when you are going through a situation, when things are so hard, if you can't turn to a friend, turn to God. If you turn to friends who will scandalize your name, turn to your closest relative. Anybody will listen to you. And the advice they give you, think twice, think thrice, think 10 times before you jump into a situation. No one would want to go through what we went through. Jail is not a good place. Make right choices, make right decisions, never end up in jail. You lose so much. Your family, your friends, your children, and that stigma. Nobody would ever want that in their lives. So stay safe. Thank you for tuning. Thank you so much for your love once again.